Thank you. And such amazing presentations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah. Will
Thank
you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you're with.
I will. Let me just start sharing my screen. Okay, is this working? All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Pronita, and today I'll be talking about how to build a creativity mindset, whether you're a teacher or a parent or a student. So a little bit about myself. I am the founder of MindAntix, and it's a company, and our focus is really on building creative thinking skills. And it's amazing to see so many of these young inventors who are already bubbling with so much creativity of their own. So this is wonderful. Let me go a little bit forward. So with MindAntix, we're taking a slightly different approach to teaching creativity. And the idea is that we have done a lot of research in understanding how inventors and innovators, some of the most accomplished people, how do they think? How do they approach problem solving? And then from there, we try to identify and extract patterns that are common across all these different amazing people, and then see how do we teach students in ways that, whether it's designing activities and projects, that they get to exercise some of those same sort of thinking patterns as well as ways to approach problems. So they are in sort of more seamless ways, they learn to be more creative themselves. And then in addition to running programs for kids, we also do professional development for teachers as well as developing curriculum. So, but for today, I'm going to be focusing on one aspect, which is building that creativity mindset. Okay, so what is creativity mindset? So before we go there, I just do want to clarify a little bit about what creativity is. And I know that everybody here, a lot of these young inventors, they already have a very good sense that creativity is about coming up with new ways to solve some interesting problems. So it's not just about like arts and crafts that most people sort of take to mean creativity, but it's really about problem solving. It's really about inventing, it's innovating. And the creativity mindset is similar to the growth mindset in that it's understanding and believing that creativity is not something that you're just born with. It's something that you can actively and deliberately nurture and build. So just like, with more practice, you can get good at any skill, whether it's a piano or any math or whatever it is. Creativity works pretty much the same way. The more you do work, the more you practice, the more you come up with ideas, the more you prototype, all of those skills help you become more and more creative. And it's really good to see some of these really young innovators over here. They're already doing some of that stuff. They should really feel proud of themselves, right? Because they're coming up with ideas, they're building, and so they're building all of those right skills. And then related to this is also something that I find is important is that creative confidence. And we kind of all understand that creativity requires a little bit of courage. Every time you're coming up with a new idea that you don't know how others are going to perceive, you always, it's a little nerve-wracking, like, telling the whole world about your idea. Like, are people going to think, is this a silly idea? Is this good enough? All of that stuff. So, just building some of that confidence is also sort of almost like a part of building that creativity mindset. All right, so how do we even start building that creativity mindset? So the very first idea or technique or strategy, and this is one that I really like, I do this with my students a lot, is just observe creativity around us. Everything around us, even with the simplest of things, is whether it's a table or a chair or a pencil, all of these are examples of creativity. They solve a problem. Somebody, and a lot of time people just like, us, they all, came up with the idea. They looked at something, they saw a problem, they said, oh, wait, I can do something better. This is a way to improve life. And so understanding and analyzing that can really open up your eyes, that our society is sort of revolves around creativity. Without creativity, none of this stuff around us would exist. And so that's how crucial it is for us to for society in general, right? This creativity. And you know, we can just take a simple example of paintings. Can anybody think of, like, you know, so don't focus on the art aspect of creativity of the paintings, but sort of just the form of paintings. How is the modern day painting, how is it creative? What kind of problem is it solving? Does anybody have any idea or any thought? All right, so I'll just give it. So if you think about, like, the oldest form of art was, say, like a cave art. So, you know, it's you have this thing, it's in your cave. One of the problem with it is that you can't move it around, right? It's there. But somebody at some point had this idea, wait a second, instead of creating my art directly on the wall, what if I created on a different medium? And at that medium, I could then make it more mobile or transportable or whatever it is, and then I can hang it. And now the modern day painting is an improvement in that sense, right? I can, if I don't like it in one spot, I want to move my painting from one room to the other, I can do that very easily. Or if I want to change houses, I can do that. You could not have done that with a cave painting. But just that concept that, you know, you have art, people appreciate art, and it's good for you, but I can find better ways to engage with art, and that itself is a creative idea. And so just having students or children sort of learn to look at different things, think about it. How did this evolve over time? How has this gotten better from the earliest version? Well, how is it going to look like in the next 5 or 10 years? Like, what's the next generation, next version of it is going to look like? So even these are like simple and small examples, but what it's doing, it's really helping you think and sort of really absorb that creativity is all around us. And that can be really powerful over time. The next idea is, or perspective, is the strategy, I would say, is learning to seek alternative perspectives. And this is, again, something that is very common across some of the most innovative people. And the thing that they're really, really good at, some of these innovators, is that they hold two very opposing points of views at the same time in their head, and they're very comfortable with the process. Like most of us, when we have two opposing ideas or thoughts, it gives that sort of a discomfort, and we want to resolve it very quickly. We want to, like, either say I'm right or you're right or whatever it is, but we want to get rid of that discomfort. But with some of the most innovative people, they actually don't. They don't jump into trying to resolve it right away. What they're really doing is they're holding it, and they're sort of analyzing it, noodling it, or whatever it is. And in the process, they end up getting some really interesting insights. There might be some scenarios where one idea is more correct or applicable than the other scenario, but just sort of understanding that sort of the bigger picture, they start to get much more interesting and innovative ideas. So just having sort of an open mind. So if you have a friend and your friend suggests an idea that's very different from what you had, instead of jumping right away at trying to figure out which one is the right one, you want to hold back, you want to understand their perspective, why are they suggesting that idea, be able, and then sort of see your perspective, then try to figure out what does this all mean. I think it starts to build some of those underlying thinking skills for being both creative as well as that analytical and critical. And similarly, if you're a parent or a teacher, and you want to start also paying attention to when your child brings up some interesting idea. So, you know, if they suggest something new, it may not be perfect, but just the fact that they suggested something new is worth appreciating and then elaborating. Then then you kind of work through it and says, okay, so that's a very interesting idea that you proposed. It's an interesting way to look at the problem or interesting way to solve a problem. Now let's start figuring out, like, you know, in what would there be situations where this would work really well, would be situations where it may not work that great, and then sort of having them elaborate their idea. It starts to, one, build that creative confidence. That some adult in my life took my idea that was very different very seriously, and we had this really interesting discussion around it. I think that really does wonders for building their confidence. And again, if somebody in a group discussion, if you're in the classroom and somebody suggests a new perspective, being appreciative and saying, hey, that's, thanks for bringing this new perspective into discussion. That's something that wasn't there. It starts to orient students towards thinking in more original ways, and it makes it more acceptable to both think and propose original ideas, and that's obviously great for creative thinking. And the third one is the ability to reframe problems. So again, this is another one of those very, very sort of a key aspects of creativity. It's sort of this problem finding. So and there's also research that backs up that the people who are good at finding real world problems, it's sort of more predictive of their long-term success in creative achievement, even more than some of the other tests and things. So, all of us obviously encounter a lot of little problems or big problems in our day-to-day lives. And obviously sometimes it's frustrating, right? So, but going past that frustration and saying, wait a second, I have this problem. I mean, yes, it's frustrating, but there might be a way to do things differently or better. And if it's going to help me, there's a very good chance that other people are also facing the same problem, and it would benefit them as well. So then learning to sort of taking that as an opportunity, is there a way for me to solve this in a better way? And that's a really, really interesting or very important way to build that creativity mindset. And so here's one of the examples that I really like is this girl, Abby, and she had invented with her dad this making bacon device. And the way they came, how she got the idea was that one day she was helping her dad fry bacon, and they realized that they were out of paper towels, so they couldn't drain all the oil from bacon. I mean, they ended up using newspapers that day, but then that gave them an idea. Is there a way to cook bacon in a way that the oil just drips away? So then they designed this microwavable device where you have these little rods where you can hang the bacon strips, and as it's cooking, the oil is dripping on the bottom. At the end of it, you don't really need like lots of paper towel to like remove the rest of the oil. But the idea is just that they took that, they encountered a problem, and they made a game out of it and said, hey, would there be a better way to do this? Like, is there a way to design something? And then that got them started into creating a new invention. And I think she won quite a few awards for her idea. So that's the third idea that you have for building creativity mindset. To summarize, obviously building a creativity mindset is great, and I'm it's really nice to see some of those really young innovators starting at such an early age, and they're already in that journey. You're halfway there. Just sort of keep at it, keep thinking, keep innovating, keeping creative, because all of this is going to lead to lots of success as you grow older. And we looked at 3 different ways of building a creativity mindset. Just one is to just look around you. There's so many little things that if you just think about it, pause and think for a few minutes, you'll suddenly realize, oh wait, this is such a clever way. Somebody thought of that idea and made this better. The second one is to look for new perspectives. So you can actively seek out, you can ask people, okay, tell me something, tell me a reason why I might be wrong, or tell me a new perspective. Or if somebody suggests an idea and it's different from yours, dig in and learn more. So that really helps open up your mind and your thinking, makes you more flexible. And then you encounter problems, learn to get past that initial frustration and say, oh wait, is there a way things could be better? And all of those will help build that creativity mindset, which will lead to make you much more successful as an adult. So with that, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of the GIFT conference put by the amazing GIFT team. And with that, I wish you the very best in your creative journey. Thank you.
If you log off, I want to say that I've never thought things well the way you put it.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you. So I'm really glad. And what is the one thing that you thought that was interesting, that you think that you would want to do that now?
Like take some time thinking on the arguments, see if you can make something out of it.
Very good. Very good. That's excellent. And thank you.
I want to say thank you to everybody. First of all, did any of my other co-hosts have any more questions real quick?
I've got a quick comment. So I'm listening to this and I heard you mention that this was a curriculum as well as some other things. And I see your Twitter and I'm assuming that's your Instagram. How can we see more? How can we find this and actually apply it to, I'm a homeschooler. How can I apply it to my everyday class? Especially I love this merger between creativity as well as critical thinking. So tell me, where do I get it?
Yeah, so just reach out to me. My email is on the slide here, and I can absolutely help you get started if there are activities that you want to do with your child, or if there are project-based learning modules that you want to do. So we can definitely get you going there. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Yes, thank you.